What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be continuing our series ranking every season of an NBA legend's career. And I asked you guys to vote on who you wanted to see, and you guys chose Steph Curry. And I was a little bit reluctant to make this video because Steph's career, it is not over yet, but since you guys chose it, I thought I might as well make it. And like always with these videos, we have the tier ranking system. You have the S tier as the top tier, the A tier, the B tier, the C tier, and at the bottom, you have the F tier. And before I get into this video, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And if you haven't liked this video, that would help me out tremendously. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So starting off, we have the F tier, the worst tier for any Steph season. And I put two specific years in the F tier. First off, I put the 2012 season. This year was Steph's third year in the NBA. He only played 26 games due to injury. And in those games, he averaged 14.7 points per game, 5.3 assists, 3.4 boards on 49, 45, and 81 splits. Now those stats are a little bit deceiving because Steph this year was battling through tremendous injuries. As you obviously noticed, he missed 50 plus games, but he played through a lot of injuries this year, and the stats don't really reflect how good Steph was in that limited time. But with that being said, I can't put this any higher than the F tier, as Steph only played 26 games, and his numbers weren't that impressive. Also in the F tier, I have Steph's 2020 season, and very similar to 2012, Steph missed a ton of games, and he actually only played 5 games this year, and in those games, he averaged 20.8 points per game, 6.6 assists, 5.2 boards on 40, 25, and 100 splits. And I really don't even care about the numbers. The reason I have this in the F tier is Steph only played 5 games, and I'm sorry, you can't rank that any higher in the F tier, even though it is unfair to Steph Curry. So that is the end of the F tier, where I have Steph's 2012 season and his 2020 season. Now moving ahead, we have the C tier, and the first year I have is the 2010 season. And this year was Steph's rookie year, and coming into the NBA, Steph, he was the 7th pick in the draft, and he was looked at as a boom or bust player. And his first year in the league was very impressive. He averaged 18, 6, and 5 on very impressive shooting splits, pushing 50, 40, 90. And for a young player to come in right off the bat and average 18 points per game on super high efficiency, that is a very underrated aspect of Steph's career. He was really great from day one. The only reason he didn't reach his peak sooner was due to injuries. As you can tell from Steph's rookie year, he was already one of the best young players in the league, and he finished second in the rookie of the year voting to Tyreke Evans. Now the last year I have in the C tier is Steph's 2011 season, his sophomore season. And this year Steph upped his scoring as well as his efficiency. He had 48, 44, and 93 splits, and he led the NBA in free throw percentage. So once again, Steph, very early at 22 years old, is showing signs of being one of the most efficient players in the entire NBA. And at this time for the Warriors, they were playing the tough Western Conference, and this year they won 36 games, which is actually pretty good given Steph's supporting cast. But still, I can't rank it any higher than the C tier, and that's why I have 2011 along with 2010 in the C tier. Now next up, we have the B tier, and the first year I have in this tier is the 2013 season. And this year Steph averaged 23, 7, and 4 on once again very impressive 45, 45, and 90 splits. But the big takeaway this year is that Golden State would win 47 games and finally make the playoffs. And this was Steph's first ever playoff appearance, and in the first round, he was absolutely outstanding, and the Warriors upset the Denver Nuggets. And Steph in that series averaged 24, 9, and 4 on 47, 44, and 100 splits. Not bad for your first ever playoff appearance. Now in the second round, Steph and the Warriors would face off against the San Antonio Spurs, one of the best teams in the NBA. In this series, Steph wasn't as good, but he still averaged 23, 7, and 3 on 41, 35, and 82 splits, and he had a huge Game 1 performance, having 44 points, a playoff career high. Now Golden State, they would lose that series in 6 games, but at this point they were showing they're one of the best up-and-coming teams in the NBA. Now the 2013 season is really when Steph got on the map for a lot of NBA fans who had known him in college, and he kind of became a household name. Now in 2014, he would continue to build on that performance, and this year he averaged 24, 9, and 4 on 47, 42, and 89 splits. So once again, Steph is improving in all aspects, and this year he actually finished 6th in MVP voting, and the Warriors won 51 games. Now, unfortunately, Golden State, they would lose the LA Clippers in the first round of the playoffs, but Steph once again had a very good playoff series, Versus one of the premier point guards in Chris Paul, he averaged 23, 8, and 4 on 44, 39, and 88 splits. And in Game 7, he had a game-high 33 points, 9 assists, 5 boards, with 3 steals. So that Warriors team, they didn't go as far as the 2013 Warriors, but once again, Steph, as you can tell, he's continuously building and getting better, and he's going toe-to-toe with one of the best point guards in the entire NBA. So that is why I have the 2013 and 2014 season in the B tier. Now let's move on to the A tier. And the first year I have in the A tier is Steph's current season, the 2021 season. And I know this year is not over yet, but so far Steph this season is averaging 30 points per game, 6.3 assists, 5.5 boards on 48, 42, and 94 splits. One of Steph's most impressive seasons. And why I put this in the A tier is because Steph is carrying a subpar supporting cast. His best overall player, I would say, is James Wiseman, who's already missed a handful of games. Draymond at this point is still a great defensive player and a great facilitator, as well as a great leader, but his offensive game when it comes to scoring is virtually non-existent. And outside of guys like Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, who are hit or miss, Steph does not have any reliable options. And even with that being the case, he still has his Warriors team in playoff contention when he's playing absolutely out of his mind. So for this year, I am kind of projecting, but I think the 2021 season has already answered a lot of questions about Steph's career. Can he carry a team that is a subpar roster? And so far, he's answered those questions. Now, next up in the A tier, I have Steph's 2019 season. And for this year, I want to go straight to the playoffs and look at how Steph performed. In total for the playoffs this year, he averaged 27, 6, and 6 on 44, 38, and 94 splits. Definitely some impressive numbers from Steph Curry. But what makes it even more impressive is how Steph performed once his superstar teammate Kevin Durant went down. After KD went down in the Houston series, Steph proceeded to average 32, 6, and 6 on 44, 36, and 94 splits. And one of the most impressive series he's had in his career was that Western Conference Finals versus Portland. In that series, he averaged 36.5 points per game, 8.3 boards, 7.3 assists on ridiculous 47, 43, and 94 splits. And I'll say it again, he did that without Kevin Durant. Now in the finals versus Toronto, Steph once again was without KD, and the Raptors had one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. They had Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, of course Kawhi Leonard, and even Serge Ibaka. And those four guys, along with the Raptors team, were all focused in on stopping Steph Curry. But even with Steph facing double and triple teams, he still managed to average 31 points per game, 6.0 assists, 5.2 boards on 41, 34, and 95 splits. In Golden State, they would lose that series in 6 games, but Steph in this playoff run, he showed he could perform without Kevin Durant and even without Klay Thompson. And a lot of these Steph Curry naysayers, they always say Steph is no good without all-star teammates, and I would say look at the 2019 playoff run. After Kevin Durant went down, Steph was absolutely balling and still playing great basketball. So that is why I have the 2019 season as well as the 2021 season in the A tier. Now finally, we get to the S tier, the highest tier for any Steph Curry season. And the first year I have in this tier is the 2018 season. And this year, Steph and the Warriors, they were absolutely dominant, and they really did coast through the regular season, and they didn't give it their all like they usually do. And when the playoffs came around, Steph and the Warriors, they really did turn it up, and Steph averaged 25.5 points per game, 5.4 assists, 6.1 boards on 45, 39, and 96 splits. And once his Warriors team made it past Houston, I think it was a foregone conclusion they were going to win the finals. And Steph in that final series, he only had one bad game, and that was in Game 3. Besides that, he was lights out this series. And if you look at his averages, he averaged 27.5 points per game, 6.8 assists, 6.0 boards on 40, 41, and 100 splits. And you always hear talk about how Steph has no finals MVP and how it's some kind of negative for his career. Me personally, I would say look at how Steph performed in those finals. Averaging 28, 7, and 6, in no way is that disappointing. And I'll say this one more time, the only bad game Steph had in this series was in Game 3. Besides that, he was the best player in Golden State for the other 3 games. Now the next year I have in this S tier is the 2017 season, and this is the first year Steph and Kevin Durant were on the same team, and this year they were on an absolute mission to dominate the NBA, they only lost 15 games during the regular season, and when it came to the playoffs, this Warriors team would somehow take it up a notch and play even better. They won their first 15 games of the playoffs, and in those games, Steph Curry averaged 29, 6, and 6 on 49, 44, and 93 splits. And one thing I do want to highlight again is how Steph played in the NBA Finals. He averaged 26.8 points per game, 9.4 assists, 8.0 boards on 44, 39, and 89 splits. If you say Steph Curry is not a good Finals performer simply because he's not having a Finals MVP, you are absolutely out of your mind. Look to the 2018 Finals, look to the 2017 Finals. Steph in both those series was absolutely phenomenal. And this Warriors team was one of the best teams of all time, being led by one Steph Curry. Now next up in the S tier, we have Steph's 2016 season. And this season from Steph is one of the greatest years in NBA history. When it came to how he played in the regular season, he averaged 30.1 points per game, the most in the NBA, 6.7 assists, 5.4 boards on 50, 45, and 90 splits, and he led the NBA in free throw percentage. And this year from Steph is the most efficient, high-volume season in NBA history. And if you were lucky enough to watch this year, you know just how impressive Steph was. The stats, as always, are off the charts, but you have to actually have been there to realize how dominant this guy was. Steph was so great at this point, they were comparing him to Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time. That should give tremendous perspective on how dominant Steph Curry was. And this Warriors team as well was absolutely dominant, winning 73 games, an NBA record. Now the unfortunate part for Steph and the Warriors is that he would get banged up in the playoffs, and his Warriors team, they would blow a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if you want to call winning 73 games and being the unanimous MVP a disappointing year, you're really holding Steph Curry to some tremendous standards. Because I think despite them not winning the championship, 2016 Curry is still one of the best seasons in NBA history and very much deserving of the S tier status. Now the last year I have in this S tier is one of my favorite Steph Curry seasons, and that is the 2015 season. This year Steph averaged 24, 7, and 4 on 49, 44, and 91 splits, and he was able to win his first MVP after Golden State won 67 games. And why I think this year is one of my favorite years for Steph is because this year, him and the Warriors took the NBA by storm. Entering 2015, the Warriors, they really weren't on anyone's radar. People were aware of them, but nobody saw them as a serious championship threat. And to win that many games and make the finals and dominate in that fashion, that is one of the most impressive things I've seen in recent history. Now the one thing I do want to harp on is the 2015 finals. As in this series, Steph Curry, in my opinion, was absolutely robbed the finals MVP. Look at his numbers. He averaged 26, 6, and 5 on 44, 39, and 89 splits. And if you go by his game logs, game by game, he really only had one bad game in this series, and that was game 2, where he had 19 points on 5 for 23 shooting. But besides that one game, Steph still played tremendously well. And after going down 2-1 in the series, Steph in the final 3 games, he would average 28 points per game, 6.3 assists, 5.0 boards on 49, 45, and 86 splits. So in the 3 most important games of the year, Steph Curry, he came up and he rose to the occasion and he played out of his mind. And once again, if you say Steph Curry is a finals choker or not a good finals performer, you simply are not looking at the facts. Steph Curry in the 2015 finals, despite not winning finals MVP, still played tremendously, and in my opinion, he's the rightful finals MVP. So 2015 was the last year I have in the S tier, along with 2016, 2017, as well as 2018. And if you want to go back and look at the whole list, starting back in the F tier, we have 2012 and 2020. In the C tier, we have 2010, 2011. In the B tier, we have 2013 and 2014. In the A tier, we have 2019, 2021. And once again, the S tier, 2016, 2015, 2017, and 2018. So that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. As always, let me know your opinion. Do you think I overrated certain years, maybe underrated other years? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.